Gatto.
Joe, good to see you again, buddy.
Good to see you.
Joe and I were crammed together like a blind date. We were presenting together at the iHeartRadio Music Festival, and like a blind date, it was dark, and the music was playing.
It was loud.
And so, there's like I'm never good at small talk. Not my thing.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
picked that
awkward.
up.
I'm not good at it. I'm just awkward. And Joe's really a warm guy, and like we talked for a little bit, and then I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I just sat in there and looked in the mirror, and I was like, I'm really bad at small talk. So that's kind of my thing. But I felt like we had a kind of a little dynamic there at the end.
I think we had to. We got thrown into it because the teleprompter wouldn't work.
Oh, that's
remember?
true.
So the teleprompter on the camera wouldn't work, and they were like, hey, yeah, so the teleprompter's not working. Ready, 3, 2, 1. And we just had to go.
And then we were just like, go. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I block trauma. It's kind of my thing.
We did great, though. We did great. I'm proud of you.
So I have a lot of questions, like just about, and I'm going to talk about your special in a second, but just about like your life and career, because to me, Impractical Jokers is, and I know you've been off for a bit now, but it's like the Shark Tank to me, where if it's on, I can watch like 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah, they suck you in.
Again, and I don't, just like Shark Tank also, I don't really pursue Shark Tank, but I love it once I forget how much I like it. What's the prison show too?
Locked Up.
Locked Up is another one.
Man.
I was a big Locked Up fan over there.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yes.
Yeah, Locked Up, right?
So talk to me about kind of the genesis. Like, how did this show even come together or get picked up?
Yeah.
Where did Impractical Jokers come from?
It was just, we had been a comedy troupe for a long time. We left for like an 18-year overnight success. We had tried a bunch of TV shows that had failed and went, and we started our comedy troupe in 1999. Me and the guys I went to high school together. We know each other over 30 years at this point.
All New York guys?
All New York guys. And, we just finally were like, let's try to put a show where it's just about like us. What we do is how we make each other laugh and let everybody come along. And we came up with the formula of like an inverted kind of prank show, because it was really just messing with your friends. There was nobody feeling bad or like your traditional pranks where you weren't like, got ya. Like, you're just messing with your friends. And that's it started with 1 episode, and I was on it for a decade, 9.5 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're still going, so it's crazy.
So back in the day, there would be like prank shows, like hidden camera shows, and yeah, you're right. There's a fine line between doing something and everybody feeling good and doing something and people pointing their finger.
Yeah, if you point the finger, it's bad. Like, we would do stuff, and if people were getting mad, we would like stop. We would like, this is wrong. How can we turn it? And we would stop filming, gather up, tweak it, and then go back out, and then we would get the gold, because it was always about laughing at your friends or with your friends.
Who gave you guys an opportunity first where you're like, I can't believe this is happening?
It was True TV. True TV and MTV got in a bidding war. MTV wanted to recast us and make it a strip show, so it would air every day, 5 days a week. It would rotate cast. And then True TV was like, you know what? These middle-aged fat men could be our poster child. And we ended up being True TV's like guys. They were like, you know what? We'll give you the show. So we started, but True TV didn't have any comedy. It was, we aired between 2 basic cable reality tow truck shows. It was Lizard Lick Towing, us, and then South Beach Tow. And it was like the comedy was jammed in the middle, and it just took off. Everybody took to it. And then True like inverted and was like, oh, we're going to make it a comedy channel. And then they started doing comedy when we were in season like 3, 2, 3, like that. And they started, like, got rid of all the reality tow truck stuff and started become like trying to do a comedy network.
When did you feel like you were actually starting to be known and then be famous?
You'd get it a lot. Like, the whole first season we filmed, and it wasn't on TV, and we were filming season 2. It didn't even air yet almost. Like, it was only a couple of episodes. And it being on True TV helped because it was such a, smaller network, so a lot of people didn't even know you. So that was kind of bad and good, because then when you're like, you're on Impractical Jokers, like, what is that? It's not like you're on Candid Camera and they're like, we got you, So it was like a weird thing. But I think the first time was we had gone to a wrestling event. So Q, one of the guys on the show, was a big wrestling fan. We got invited to go to this big wrestling event in Westbury, Long Island. There's this place in the round, so there's no walls. The things in the middle, it's all circles. And we started sitting there, and we, we're doing our thing, having fun, laughing, getting loud, and people started like looking around and turning. That thing where you see a couple of heads, because we were in the back. You just see a couple of heads turning. And in the live wrestling events, there's the moments where like they switch between matches, right? And it just stops down. And it turned around, and one guy's like, hey, can I get a picture? And the whole place turned, and like a zombie apocalypse, the whole room came to us. And we were like up against the wall. And there was like thousands of people being like, and I was like, I was like, we gotta get out of here. It was just us. I drove. I was like, we gotta get out of here. So I just started. I was like, my bit like on the show was I yell Larry and like get through crowds. So I just started doing that. And everybody thought it was a bit. And I was like, guys, just stick with me. I'm like Larry, and everybody's like laughing. And then we just literally ran to our car. People were chasing us to our car. It was insane. And I was like, oh wow, this is really. I guess we're onto something. So that moment was one of the defining ones for us. Where we're like, yeah, this is something.
Did you have to change how you did the show after that moment, just in case that were to happen again?
No, the good thing about it was, we did it in New York, which was an ally, because if half the city doesn't know you, it's 4 million people to mess with, right? So we were just like hanging out in New York and doing a lot of it, but we had to make some adjustments where we couldn't really go out. By the end, we couldn't go out in pairs as much. We loved going out in pairs and trying to mess it up, but then people would be like, I could kind of look like Joe, but then somebody can't kind of look like the other guy, that would give us away. So we had to stop doing that. And then when we started doing like the focus group stuff, we would like have to do tricks to get people. So like if it was somebody else's turn, I would play the receptionist checking them in. Just like not even for camera, just to see if somebody recognized me. So if they didn't recognize me and it was somebody's turn, they're like, okay, we're good. They don't know the show.
You had to strategize
Some stuff. The hardest part was when we were doing something in the park and you're like talking to somebody, you finally got them in and somebody comes flying over. It's like, oh my God, Joe, can I get a selfie? And you're like, oh, and then the person's like, who are you? I'm like, oh, I'm their pharmacist. Like it's just, you make anything up. I'm like, oh, really? Well, don't worry about it. So
what about getting people to sign the waivers? You ever have difficulty with that?
Not really, because most of the time people just thought we were crazy. We weren't like getting people, right? So we weren't getting them mad. They were just like, oh, I didn't even know I was on the show. What is this? Is stupid kind of thing, But there were points where some things were so good that you just kept it with a blur anyway. But a lot of times people just got away because we went so fast. We're in the park, Manhattan, messing, going around, but there's so many people coming through. Sometimes our production people would lose who it was. So they didn't get blurred, not because they were mad, it's just we missed them, but it was such a good bit that still worked with the blur. We would keep it in. So
what kind of kid were you?
Oh, nerdy. Such a geek.
In what way? Like comic books or reading?
No, I used to make tests for my father. Like he would come home from his 10-hour workday of selling life insurance door to door. And I'd be like, pop quiz, Dad. Like I was like super geeky. Like I didn't really have many friends growing up either. I had, those stupid inspirational posters that was like an oak tree and it said like strength, build your foundation. Like one of those. I had this one in my room my dad got me because I had no friends. And it was fighter jets, like 3 of them up. And it said, attitude, winners surround themselves with winners. And I remember my dad telling me, he was like, it was like 8th grade. It was almost before I went to school. I was into like, creative writing. I was good at math. I was pretty smart. And he was like, don't worry, you just don't have any winners yet. And it just always stuck with me. And then in high school, freshman year, I met the boys and, became friends with them and had that whole journey. So it's interesting. But I was definitely like a little geeky, nerdy little brother, youngest of 15 cousins. So like one of those. And then, so I was like the baby boy, grandma's favorite, that whole thing. Big Italian family.
So any of my friends that are Italian and from the Northeast, especially New York, are much like I'm from the South and we're close with our cousins. Yeah. It's a very tight knit, the cousins group. So when you say 15 cousins, I'm assuming you all live near each other.
We lived in different parts, but we spent a lot of time together. We'd vacation all the Christmas Eve at grandma's house. Everybody'd be there for a couple days, that whole thing. So we would do that. I have one cousin, Mike, who's 1 year older than me. That's more of a brother than a cousin. We've been through a bunch together. So but it was very tight-knit for sure.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
An architect. Yeah, I loved Legos. I thought that would translate. It didn't. I ended up getting an accounting degree. I have an accounting degree, which makes no sense. I can't even balance my own checkbook, So I have an accounting degree, and I didn't really use that much at all.
So you meet the boys in like high school, 8th or 9th grade, whenever that is. And did you guys just do bits for each other at first?
Yeah, I was still very shy in high school. I didn't come really out of my shell to make people laugh till junior year of high school. I used to have lunch with Sal and the guys all the time. And I used to make Sal laugh all the time at lunch. And they had joined the improv group at school, and they were like, "You got to come. You're so funny." And I'm like, "No." I was like, I can make my 3 friends laugh, but it was like 80 people, everybody watching you. I'm like, no. And then I went to it, and I really enjoyed the improv thing. So we all started doing improv together in high school, my junior year of high school. So we've been doing comedy a long time together.
So when did you decide that you were going to focus on? That's how you were going to try to make your living, was being creative?
2011. So I worked at a baby store. I was selling high-end baby gear and furniture. I was a salesman. And I took my 2-week vacation to film the pilot. Because I was always doing it. It was always the 5 to 9. Like it was after work on the side. be editing the videos, doing all the stuff. You know,
But you had a normal job.
and a
at the
normal
same
job.
time, yeah.
A normal job. I was a training program manager for this company called Giggle, this high-end baby store. So I used to do that, and then I took my 2-week vacation to film the pilot. We got picked up, and I went to the CEO's office, and I said, hey, I'm going to have to take a 6-month hiatus. And she was like, so you're quitting? I'm like, no, it's a hiatus. And she's like, I can't not have someone in your position for 6 months. She's like, so don't worry. You're going to go be a TV star. And if it doesn't work out, come back. And I did not think that was going to happen. The chances of what has happened to us is unbelievable. And I was like, no, I'll be back.
So you make this video, and are the videos you're making, are you sending them out to people? Are you emailing them to people?
So we were big on YouTube and MySpace because back in the day, the algorithm was literally a person. It worked like a newspaper. There was an editor's desk, right? So it was 1 or 2 people that were deciding what goes on the homepage. And both of them were fans of us and just liked our comedy. So we always ended up on that. So we built a big following. And then when it was time to shoot the pilot, we just took our cell phones and we went and shot a pilot. And it was just basically a sizzle reel, which was like us doing stupid stuff in public. We went to Times Square, a Tyler Perry movie was premiering, and I had to get up to a packed theater and tell everybody that I farted and excuse myself. So I do this thing, but the whole crowd went like nuts and got behind me, and I just got caught up in the moment. So I I climbed over the seats down the middle, and everybody was cheering for me, and it was such a weird moment. Everybody was like, yeah. And then we left, and then James tried to do it, and they were like, shut up. And so it was such a different dynamic because he was so not confident about it. And we had just a sizzle tape, and in the room, True TV was like, we want this show, we want to buy it in the room. And we were like, oh, okay, that's great. And then MTV made the offer, and we went back and forth and decided, no, we should be on TV. We actually decided it with a coin flip because there was 4 of us, and we always pretty much agreed. And we said, listen, if it ever comes down to something where it's 2 and 2, we'll flip a coin. And that decision was made with a coin flip to go with True instead of MTV.
Wow.
Which is cool.
What kind of husband are you to your wife as far as jokes, or are you not as extroverted at home? I'm wildly introverted when I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Like, how are you away from the microphone?
I'm
and
a way
cameras?
better husband now. I don't do, she is very introverted. She is very, she shines around dog people. We have like a dog rescue, so she loves like dog people. Talk to all day, all night. She's 2 different people with that. Otherwise, she's like you, very introverted, wallflower kind of thing. But we love to laugh. We laugh a lot. And she finds me annoyingly funny, I guess. We're not like pranking at home and stuff. My kids, though, it's funny because my son and daughter, my daughter's 9, my son is 7, and I'm with my son. We're in the supermarket, and he just starts laughing. And I'm like, what's up? And he points to a carton. There's a pineapple in it. And he goes, the pineapple. I go, what? He goes, I put it there. Now I'm hysterical. And now I have a decision to make. Do I yell at him and be like, don't mess with other people's stuff? Or do I like give him a high five? And I say, it's great. I said, great job, buddy. He goes, what do we do? What do we do? So we went and we hid. I said, you got to wait to see them find it. So we went and hid behind an end cap of Oreos. And we're just sitting there waiting for it to come. And the lady took a while to get back. And I just looked down. My son had opened a bag of Oreos. And he was eating the Oreos.
Watching
And waiting. So then I shot him a look. And he thought he was in trouble for the wrong reason. So he goes, oh, sorry, do you want one? So we're just sitting there eating Oreos for this woman to come back. But it's funny because you see your kids like realize that. And that's my new tour is about. So my new tour, I'm on tour now. It's called Let's Get Into It. And I really just break down how people become. It's exactly this. It's like, how do you become the person you are? Because I started as such a nerdy, geeky kid, but I ended up as this loud, confident, brave guy. And it's like, it's so weird how we get there.
Did you continue to do stage work as you were doing the show?
Yeah, so we went on tour as the Jokers, and we did 5 world tours together. So
But would you do, and I know you guys had toured that, but would you do comedy by yourself ever?
No, as long as on stage. I'd only started when I left the show. So 3
Really?
years, 3 years ago.
How did, when you got started, like where did you start? Did you do small clubs?
Appleton, Wisconsin.
And without telling people you were coming, or?
No, announced. Yeah, but I did Joe Gatto's Night of Comedy. I brought 2 very good comics with me, Steve Byrne, who you may know, and Mark Jagarjian. And they were good friends of mine, both really seasoned stand-ups. And I was like, all right, look, I'm going to go up there. And if it's terrible, you guys are going to come in and save the day with Joe Gatto's Night of Comedy. I know we'll have a good show. But I went up and I did like 35 minutes. And it was really good. It felt good. I came back and Steve, who's a very good friend of mine, was like, you've got this. Don't worry. You just got to figure out what you're going to talk about. So.
And you're special, messing with people. What do you do? Are you messing with people?
No. It's my story about how how I entertain and enjoy messing with people and how I realize it's just so ingrained in me. So I'm a storyteller. That's how my format is more. I tell stories, not just like a joke writer kind of guy, but I have a lot of interesting stories that I have punched up, and a lot of it just shows that I really just do this in my DNA.
Do you feel like after you tell a story and it exists, that you can't tell it anymore?
No, I mean, if you just got to Don't tell the person that's already heard it, I guess.
But if somebody comes to a show, right?
Oh, no, my show, but this new thing is all brand new. It's a brand new hour. So let's get into it. What I'm touring with now is a completely different hour than the Messing with People special. I did it for 2.5 years, and time was up, and I was like, you work so hard on something, you don't want it just to go away. So I made the special, and I was proud of the product. I was like, I want people to see this. So
why YouTube? Obviously, a lot of people wanted your services.
Yeah, not as many as you think. No, no, it was 800-pound gorillas. They're a good partner, and they're really a home for like stand up. And I want people to see me in this new light, so it's good to be with them. So you bring in a different crowd and different. I like the subscription ones are great, but it's always who's subscribed. Although people, you still get a big audience, but everybody could get the special for free, which is good. It's super shareable, which is nice.
How's that been doing for you? Like pretty good? Do you like the YouTube relationship?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the comments are fun. Like,
no way. You go look at those?
I do. I respond to every comment, good or bad.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I do it. I mean,
wow.
I mean, why not? I remember.
Well, you're extremely likable, though, to be honest.
Yeah, that's nice, but people aren't.
Okay, fair enough. Tell me a comment story.
There's some in there that's like, but I remember back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, but when Jon Favreau did Swingers, and I'm a huge Favreau fan and Vince Vaughn fan, he had put up a comment board. It was just on, you could go, and he would reply to the comments, and you would talk to Jon Favreau. And as a young person who's like trying to do it, I thought that was so cool, the accessibility. And we're so accessible now. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this for my special. I wanted people to be able to say what they want to say and then get back to them. And then if people say they don't like it, it's fine. Because as you know, comedy's 100% subjective. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's okay. Thanks for giving it a shot. It's not like I don't get into it and start like yelling at them. And I'm not really getting anything like name calling-y or like bully and stuff. I shut that stuff down real quick, so I'm not really worried about that, but I just think it's important to interact with the fans. I mean, we're all here because we have fans, right? So
how long is your special?
Just over an hour. Yeah.
Was that purposeful? Did you try to keep it an hour?
About an hour is the right amount of time where you could go. Yeah, I cut out some stuff that I didn't like during the tour, because I toured with it for 2.5 years, like I said, and I had a funny story that happened to me with my son. That's a big part of my show. And I actually took out a different story and just put that in because I was telling my friends. We had gone to Disney World, and I don't know if you've ever been to Disneyland. They do that big Star Wars ride. And my son was 5 years old at the point, and he had never – we went on the Star Wars ride, and it's super immersive. Like, everybody's playing a part. And my son had never been on a ride and never seen a Star Wars movie, so he thought he got abducted by aliens. Like, he had no idea. And we're on the ride, and I'm such a Star Wars geek, I'm enjoying it. I look over, and my son is hugging the guardrail, and he's yelling, I want to go back to Earth! And I'm like, oh, my God. And then I realized, I was like, oh, no, this kid has no idea what's happening. And it was just so funny. And I told that story to Steve in the car as we were driving. And he was like, you got to tell us on stage. And that night I told it on stage, and it became like a centerpiece of my show.
Would you watch it back and realize where you were getting some laughs and then try to make those moments a little more crisp?
Yeah.
Do you game tape yourself?
I do.
Dang.
That's hard.
That's really hard.
You watch yourself.
I hate myself when I do that.
Everybody does. That's the worst. That's the worst watching when you're like, oh, when you think something's going to kill.
But I get less confident. Like, I'll watch anything I do, and I'm
Really?
like, oh, yeah. I'm like, you're awful. So I find, like, sometimes, depending on where my mental and emotional state is, it's better for me not to do that. Sometimes if I'm in a good place, I can, and I can make the notes. Do you have anybody that you can trust to tell you that something's going great or even not going great?
Yeah. You could tell, too, though. I mean, I've been doing it a long time. I've been doing comedy a long time, so you could tell. I self-edit a lot. I'll also not give up on something if it's not working, and I'll sit up there and say 3 more jokes in it. That's what my friend Mark taught me, too. He was like, try 3 jokes if one doesn't work. And if none of them work, it's not a good joke. So I'll get up there because I have improv background, so I'll just jump in, try some stuff. I had a great show. Like, this new tour is still like in its very early stages. So I just did Chattanooga last night, and it was a great show. And I was like, okay, this is the one to start replicating. So, I've done about 12 shows with this tour so far, and I was like, this is the right one.
Joe Gatto Official. .com.
Not the regular Joe. I don't know that other guy.
Yeah, who is the other guy?
I don't know. I don't know.
Does he exist? Did you look at him?
No, it's somebody just has the domain. It's just somebody has it, so you got to throw the official on the end.
Yeah, or Mr. That's what I had to do. Mr. Bobby Bones, because some guy wouldn't give me.
That sounds very regal.
I know, and I'm not. Like, that's the weird part about it. JoeGattoOfficial.com for all the tour dates, and you are all over the place. There are dates all the way up until March of next year.
Yeah.
So, is your goal to build out another special?
The goal is to keep getting in front of people and making them laugh. I just love making an event for people to come and forget how terrible life is and laugh together for a while. So I'm having a lot of fun doing this. And then I'm sure when this is over, I'll have the same feeling I had with the last one, which is you just don't want it to just go away. So
the kids book, tell me about this.
Yeah. Where's Barry? Yeah. I just came up with a kids book. It's been so much fun. I partnered with Penguin Publishing Group, got illustrated by a great guy, Luke Flowers, and it's a story about my son lost his stuffed animal, and he was playing hide and go seek with it at bedtime. Like if you're a parent, you know if your kid loses their stuffy, it's at bedtime, it's forget it. It's over, right? So it was catastrophic. So I was like, oh, you got to calm down. Let's find it. And we taught him how to calm down and retrace his steps. And he started like breathing and doing like this namaste thing, which I didn't even know to this day where he got it from. He was just like, and I was like, okay. And then he had hidden it under a pot, under the sink, like upside down. Like I never would have found it. He was playing hide and go seek with it. And we never would have found it. So I'm like, thank goodness he was able to. And it was a fun story. So I sent it out. It got illustrated and it came a really fun kid's book.
Your animal rescue. You talk about your wife. You have a service dog here with you.
Yeah.
What
this is
about
Spumoni. She's in the book as well. She's in Where's Barry.
What is it about dogs or animals that you guys are so passionate about?
We have a senior dog rescue on Long Island. It's called Gatto Pups and Friends, and we started it about 2 years ago. My wife was just collecting these old decrepit dogs for a while. She was just we just had like so many rescue dogs, and I'm like, we could probably do better if we start trying to find them homes and adopt them out, you know. So we just adopted out this last week, and I think our 120th dog, which is so much fun. It's great to find homes for them, but we just love them. They're part of the family. We have 11 dogs ourselves, and then the pack.
You have 11 dogs?
11 dogs, yeah. This is
Where do they all live?
in the house, yeah. And they sleep the 8 of them sleep upstairs with us.
Wow.
Most of them are like smaller. We only have a couple that are bigger, but like she sleeps on my pillow.
And she tours with you?
She comes on the road with me every now and again, yeah.
How much of the touring are you doing in a car? How much are you flying?
When it's a fly in and then fly out one, I'll take the dog with me. If I'm doing multiple flights in between, I don't take her. But I do lots of driving. I like to drive.
Well, you just drive. We won't just drive from New York, but you'll fly somewhere and
I'll
drive
fly
a couple.
and go, yeah. Fly, pick up a
days.
rental. Yes.
What do you do all day when you have a show at night?
I walk around. I love going into these little towns, just popping around and stuff, going to Main Street, getting a coffee and a donut, meeting the people, shopping into like a, candles and BS store.
I just think if I saw Joe, I'd feel like I'd be looking around.
Oh, you get that all the time.
Like, well, you about to do something to me?
Yeah. I have a story. I was at Target and I got to find the paper towels. This nice little old lady, red vest. I say, excuse me, miss, where's the paper towels? And she looks at me and goes, oh, no, Joe, you're not getting me. And she ran from me. And I was like, I just need paper towels, lady.
That's funny.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Are you feeling fulfilled from kind of this new season of Joe?
Yeah, life is good. Yeah, I got a little bit of balance, a little bit back. I got, I feel like a better dad, a better husband. I'm still getting the comedy, scratching the itch of the comedy with everything I'm doing. The creativity is great. It's just always fun. When you concentrate on something for so long, one thing, like, when you're able to look away, you have so many other ideas. It's cool to be able to chase these things. And
did you feel like you weren't able to get bored, therefore you wouldn't really create? Were you so busy doing the show?
I was very busy doing the show. Yeah, it was very consuming, because I did the production and edits and everything, and then we toured together, and it just was nonstop kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, if I am just going, if I'm doing stand-up or doing a TV show and then doing the radio show, I can never get bored. Therefore, I just feel like I'm never actually creating. I'm just trying to maintain.
Yeah, that's smart.
Therefore, nothing is coming out of me that I'm like proud of because I'm just trying to keep up all the time.
Yeah, but then when you start something new, that sparks up the whole machine again, right? So that's what's really fun and exciting. Is like when I wrote the kids book, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I've never done this, and then you get really into it and behind it.
I'd like to go back to something you said earlier when you said up on my comment of I'm not good at small talk. You said, yeah, obviously, or something like that.
He noticed.
Yeah, he knew whatever it was he said. I'm curious to
You
kind
think you
of.
pulled the bathroom? You pulled. I gotta go to the potty, and you disappeared. You left me by myself in the dark.
Hold on.
In an arena.
I was for like a good 10 minutes, and then I did. I was like, I just need to go to the bathroom and kind of regroup. Because again, you're a big famous Joe, and here I am. I'm like, I don't even know. It's loud, and you're like, hey man, where are you from? And so that's awkward. So
I didn't yell in your face.
No, me.
Hey,
No, that's me. It's like
that was an impression of you.
Yeah, it's
okay.
like you're meeting somebody in a bar
That was
back
actually a
in the
pretty good
day.
impression of me, though.
Yeah, it's like, what do you like to eat? You're just doing that the whole time. So I'm like, I know I'm annoying this guy. He doesn't want to be here with me either. But I did like you. I thought you were super warm. I just think nobody ever wants to be around me because I'm terrible at that. Yeah. What was your impression of after working with me for, 8 minutes?
I was excited that because I was able to book this right. We got the news that I was doing this right before. So I was like, oh, this is great. I could talk to him about doing this. And you're like, yeah, I'll see you later. I'm going to go pee. I was like, all right, talk to you later. I guess I'll talk to you in the studio. And then you were like, yeah, I got to go. Peace out. This is my wife. See ya. And you were gone. But I think like you're right. That is a very loud, weird place. Everybody's looking at you. But when the cameras started and we were on that little stage together and it got we had a lot of fun in the moment. We only had, what was it? Before we introduced Keith Urban, we had a minute and a half, but it was a very fun minute and a half because we went off the cuff, which I love. And you are super smart and quick, which is cool. And then everybody in the theater, responded to us, everybody in the arena, which was really fun. So I think overall you'll give yourself a hard time. I'd back it down a bit. I think you're a good guy.
Well, I never said I wasn't a good guy, but now I can actually see. So when you're doing these shows, what time do you get to bed?
Depends. If I have the dog with me, I sleep way better, go to bed much quicker. Because I'm so used to sleeping with so much animals. But, I probably go to bed. I write when I get back. You're off the high of a show, probably around midnight-ish, 1 o'clock.
So not like the hard comedy, 4 a.m.
No, because the shows, I only do one show. I don't do, like comedy clubs, I'll go to bed later because the late show starts at 10:30. But my show's around 7:30, so I'll go. When I play casino, it's a little bit later.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Do you ever have that feeling do you tour by yourself?
Yeah, well, I have a group of people that come, the team that works with me, and then Mark, who's my opener, who is very funny. He's with me on all dates.
But like your close folks, they stay home for the most part.
Yeah, my kids come with me every now and again. My kids will be with me next weekend, which is cool.
Do you ever do the thing where it's like if they're celebrating, and you get back to your hotel room in like an hour, and you're like, I'm so alone.
I know.
I liked it when people were liking me and they were yelling.
It is a weird thing where you're just sitting there eating room service nachos, watching something on the streamer. You know what I mean? It's a little different. Like you're going from taking your bows in front of this theater, and now you're like, yeah, I'll take. Can I get extra cheese?
Man, it sounds like you're like enjoying life.
Yeah.
Like you're smiling when you're talking. And that doesn't always happen with all artists and performers. You can kind of tell they're just kind of fighting through something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that hopefully you found this new part of fulfillment in your life. Does everybody come up to you and go, why aren't you on the show anymore? Is that the most annoying question ever?
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And what do you say to them?
I'm not on it anymore.
Do you ever come across yourself? Do you watch yourself?
Yeah. I mean, it's on now and again. I mean, I see things like in airports. Like it'll be on the show and stuff, and then people will realize that's always so funny. But they're like, "Oh, what?" And it's on airplanes. Like I'll be waiting online to go to the bathroom or something, and I'll see me on somebody's screen, and they're laughing, and then they look over and it's me, and they're like, "What? What is that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just going to the bathroom." Well, but yeah, it's been good. I mean, the biggest thing people want to know is like, "Oh, are you still friends with the guys?" Because it's such a show, and I'm like, "Yeah, we were friends before. We're friends after. We've been friends, 30. We're just not friends from work anymore." So,
you guys have any questions for Joe? Amy?
I mean, just working with friends for so long, and we've all been
we've
together
done it for 20
like
years.
18,
We're all
20
friends.
years.
Yeah, we're all friends.
So we started really young together, but was there ever any conflict that y'all had to navigate through?
Yeah, always. Comedy's hard by committee too, but we always worked it out. We would always have an open mind. There was always a sentence we could say to each other where I remember there was like a specific punishment I wanted to do where I wanted Sal always gets in his own mind, and he's like very fun to watch, like implode if you manipulate all his neuroses. And I was like, let's make a punishment where Sal doesn't know he's being punished and continually thinks he is and isn't, is and isn't. I was like, and he'll unravel. I said, it'll be so fun we could do. And nobody was in on it. And I remember me and Q were talking, and I just looked at him. I said, I'm going to do it. It's going to be funny. And he goes, okay. And that was it. And we've said that sentence to each other a bunch of times, just like, trust me, it's going to be funny. And we always knew we'd be able to make it. If somebody had some confidence in it, we did it. So that would be like the sentence that would be like, guys, because it's everybody's show too, right? You can't be like, you can't do this on your show. Like that was always weird. But we always, most part, agreed. We had worked together for so long before that we get your own voice. It was kind of like a one voice kind of thing.
Being friends for that long though too, the hanging out because y'all are working together so much, then it's like, would y'all ever be like, hey, you want to grab dinner Friday night?
It would be so funny when we'd see each other out in the wild. We had the saying, see you in 12 hours, because we literally, there's one time where we saw each other for 32 days in a row, like in a row. Like you don't see your family that much. It was crazy. Like we had a tour. We had our cruise. Then we went on a tour. We had the show back to filming. Then we went on a tour, and it was like insanity. And then I remember there was it was like a wedding or something, and we all had to go to somebody's wedding. Somebody was getting married from the show on the production team, and we all went to the wedding, and we were like, saw each other at a wedding, and we were just talking about bits of what we could do at the wedding. I'm like, guys, can we just not think about like how we're gonna best people here at this wedding?
Eddie, Lunchbox, anything for Joe?
Yeah, he mentioned a cruise real quick. So we've been trying to talk Bobby into doing a Bobby Bones Show cruise.
Oh, you would love it.
What's that like?
Going on vacation with your crazy fans at seas for 6 days, so fun.
I get motion sick though.
Don't go.
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
That was easy. All right.
Motion sickness is kind of like, no, that's like the thing.
Like, and that just sits in you. There's nothing you can do.
Everybody tries with the stupid like ear patches and whatnot. Yeah.
Wristbands, ear patches, butt plugs.
Watch the horizon.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know who you're talking to about the butt plug thing.
That's all right. That's a
You
whole.
better consult your physician.
It's a different group. Morgan.
Yeah, I want to know if you guys ever ran into any legal problems when you guys were doing these jokes or punishments. Something had to happen because some of those go horribly wrong, I would imagine.
Yeah, actually, it played in our favor once because we had gotten a letter from the city. We did this bit where we were just doing a stupid thing down by the one of the official buildings downtown, and out front it had these huge statues. And we made Sal start playing a competition of Got Your Nose. So he had this. The nose always had to get bigger. So you start with a baby, which is weird to do to somebody's baby, and then you do it to an adult, which is even weirder. And then Sal was like, there was this huge statue, and he climbed on this statue, and he was like, "Got your nose," whatever. And it was like a huge thing. We got a letter from the city; they had seen it, and they sent to production. We were having a meeting, and their production manager comes in. He's like, "Hey, we just got a letter. We have to, we got a fine from the city about this trespassing." And they'd seen a thing, because it's a landmark building and blah, blah, blah. And they left. The next day, Sal wasn't in, and I was in with everybody. The showrunner comes in, and he goes, "Hey, don't worry, we got that thing sorted." I was like, "No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We didn't. Sal's in trouble. Just leave it." So then we started this whole campaign up that Sal was facing a $500,000 fine and needed to go to a dissertation, like to sit down with a judge. And we posed this whole thing downtown. They have where they film NYPD Blue and all that. They have like these fake courthouses. We rented one out, got extras, made somebody as an actress, and used all these hidden cameras that we had never used before. There was like a lipstick cam in a water bottle, like all this high-end stuff, and made Sal sit through this thing. And then a couple months after that, we had one of our sets raided by Homeland Security, and they rolled up like a movie, and they go up to Sal, and eventually he turns around, and the woman who was the judge was like, "Gotcha," and he just melted. It was it took about a year and 2 months for it to play out, which was really, really fun.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Commitment.
That's wild.
Yeah. And his mind just exploded. He's like, how did I not get this? It was his day off when he went for the dissertation. He's like, so I was working and I didn't get paid that day? Like, it was really funny.
That was funny. Lunchbox.
How rich did you guys get?
Basic cable, not very.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, no residuals, nothing like that. The movie helps. You get paid the residuals on the written movie, which was cool. But basic cable, you don't get any.
The special is Messing with People. Yeah. You can search for it. It's on YouTube now, and Joe is all over. So how do you say Gatto?
Gatto.
My accent and your accent.
Everybody says Gatto. Yeah, it's Gatto.
So it is Gatto.
Gatto. Joe Gatto.
See, okay.
I get Gatto, Gatto. It goes all over the place, but
Gatto.
Yes, Gatto. There you go. You got it. Bobby Boons.
All right, you guys could go to Joe Gatto Official. Gatto.
Yes.
Joe
now you got it.
Now it feels weird, yeah. JoeGattoOfficial.com to see all of his dates in a lot of the cities that our show's in. You're basically just following us. Wherever we are, our show is, you're all over the country. Congratulations, and thank you for coming in. Really appreciate the time.
This is great.
And next time, I'll not pee. I'll just hold it. I'll probably have to pee really bad. I'm not going to go to the bathroom.
I thought you were going to go to the bathroom as soon as I came in here, and I was just going to talk to these fine folks.
Joe, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
There he is. Joe Gatto, everybody.
Hey, you guys.